Well, welcome everybody. Andy Lindahl here. Scott will be along in a second as he's getting all gussied up, we'll say, at the hotel. There's an old man term for you. Yeah, I can see already some people commenting online on YouTube. Welcome. This is a little pregame edition of Hot Mic with Hastings and Lindahl. Pleased to have you along. So, I wish we were starting with better news. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the tweets from Shams, and this is something. If you were able to listen to Kreckman and Lindahl last Friday, just a couple days ago, you knew that it wasn't good. Katie Wingy was saying that it wasn't good. But let's see. Shams saying the latest is not only is AG out and just improbable that he can play because of how bad the hamstring is, but he's going to need 1 month to recover from the grade 2 left hamstring strain. So even if the Nuggets find a way past Oklahoma City, now here's the good news. The good news is the last time they played Oklahoma City, as far as getting to the next round, if you remember, they had the back-to-backs, and I shouldn't say the last time, but the last time they played without AG, let's put it that way. They had the back-to-backs back in March. Nate and I were hyper-focused on that. I want to say it was like March 9th, March 10th, okay? They had the Sunday afternoon game. I think we all remember that was the one where Oklahoma City got the nice win, and then the Nuggets came back the very next day and as well got a nice win. That second game where they got the win on the Monday night, that was without Aaron Gordon. So there you go. So they have one without Aaron Gordon. Now, let's get there first. Aaron's brought a lot to this series. He's brought a lot of physicality. Here's some more good news as far as just trying to get to play Minnesota in the next round. When the Nuggets got that big win the other night, Aaron only had 5 points, and we kind of put that special sort of that set that the threshold was supposed to be 20 points for Aaron Gordon for them to get a win. So they were able to get a couple wins without him playing, not at his best, and so I don't know. I'm looking for hope here right now. I don't love the matchup today without Gordon. I don't, but you know what? I said this on the podcast, and I said this on Friday. Are we by chance in the middle of watching Nikola Jokic author his most special push to date, his most special accomplishment in his storied career? Is he just going to find a way to will this team not only to the Western Conference Finals, but possibly to another NBA championship round? I don't know. Do I love the prospect of Minnesota without Aaron Gordon? I don't. AG again is their physicality, really, outside of Jokic. So you kind of wondered, would this all catch up? I mean, let's be honest. You guys are all Nuggets fans. This has not been one of those years where they've had the best injury luck. So I was really excited. I kind of kept it quiet in the back of my mind. I'm really happy that AG's calf hasn't acted up. And then that dumb scenario the other night where he just kind of tweaks his hamstring. So now here we are, and let's just hope that they have something up their sleeve. A lot of your comments coming in. Again, I know Scott's set to jump in. Stone Shooter said doesn't feel good without AG, likely out for another maybe month. MPJ in his shoulder. If they manage to get through this game, the Wolves are going to be a problem. There's no doubt about that. There's that small part of you that wants to know, do we want to put up with the Wolves mugging all over possibly what could be, a rough. They're built to beat the Nuggets. That's all we ever hear about. They're built to be the Nuggets. It's Denver this offseason needs to find a way to turn around and now turn the tables on them. Let's see. No AG. Now, JB, it's not looking it seems highly unlikely. Sham's first tweet that I woke up to at 7 a.m. was AG's not going to be able to play and he needs a month off. So now here you go, Jordan. We just got to believe. There you are. I would agree. You do have to just believe. That's what you got to do. I'm hoping that, that they'll find a way to look. They can pull this off. They have beat this team without Nikola Jokic. That's the good news. Now, for the long-term goals, I don't know. But the good news is today is a one-game deal. It's a one-game deal. You win one game, you buy yourself 4 more. And then who knows what happens. Maybe they find some way to, put some super therapy we don't know about on that hamstring and somehow Gordon's able to play. I don't know. But the bottom line is all they have to do is get through today and then let the chips fall where they may in the Western Conference Finals. If we all really think about it, I'm sure if all of us are being honest here right now, um, you know, we didn't. I don't look. I'll speak for me. When Adelman got let go, I thought, okay, get through the Clippers series and then I'll be satisfied. It's been tough because as a playoff series goes on, you obviously get frustrated and sick of the other team. You don't love the other team. Um, I'm tired of Caruso. I'm tired of Chet. I'm tired of SGA's flopping. I know all the Oklahoma City fans have taken to Twitter to really get after Joker and whatever, but you just get tired of that's what makes the playoffs fun. You get tired of the other team's players, and I'm tired of the Oklahoma City players, frankly. I again, if I don't have to see Alex Caruso, now would I take him on the Nuggets in an absolute heartbeat? If for some reason Oklahoma City decided they needed to save some money for all these guys they got to sign in the near future, then yeah, I'd take Alex Caruso as a Denver Nugget, but he's not a Denver Nugget, and I'm not going to root for him otherwise. So anyway, we'll see. We'll just have to see how this goes, and you do have to believe because again, all we're doing is talking about a one game scenario, just a one game scenario. So um, I'm just hoping that that one game scenario goes their way today. So I think he's here. There he is. All right. Is he on the bus? See, this is what's hard about trying to do these shows is our man's all over the place.
Yeah, my bad.
Where you been? All right.
Well, I got to pack a bag. I got to get it out by the door. I got to get it. And, Andy, when I sit down with you early in the morning, need me a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Did you make that in your room? That looks like a room cup. That probably just cost you more than the actual Starbucks coffee would. But
no, that's the one thing they give you free. So I got me some free coffee.
yeah, but the cup costs $10. The coffee was free, but the cup is $10. So
they'll write it into the cost of the room. So.
That's right. All right. We've already got a bunch of people on, a bunch of comments. People are trying to stay positive. Scotty, I basically been saying one game scenario. They beat Gordon. I was reminding everybody how in the March matchup, the back-to-backs, the Monday game that they won, there was no Aaron Gordon. You pointed out to me immediately after the game the other night, Gordon only had 5 points. It's not like they got that win the other night with Aaron Gordon being a key figure in it necessarily. So as far as the one game where it looks like he's not going to be available according to Shams, they should be able to pull this off. But just what are your thoughts if Gordon can't go?
Well, go back and listen. I don't know the exact record. I'll have it. I'll have that by game time. We're going to do pregame show on altitude. They've won more than they lost without Aaron Gordon this year, but they had to play with him without him. I think 30 games. I think something like that. And if you remember back in the regular season when they had that 2-game set with Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City, it felt like a playoff game. He got hurt in the first quarter, early in that first game. Didn't play at all in the second game, and they kind of beat the tar out of him. So you'd rather have Aaron Gordon, but if you could somehow pull a win off tonight or this afternoon, then you 2 or 3 extra days for Aaron to get that hamstring right for when Minnesota comes in town on Tuesday. I saw him on the plane yesterday. He seemed in good spirits. Shams reporting today, and listen, the way that Leggy and the way that Adam Schefter and the way that Shams and all them guys do, they usually have 1 or 2 people, higher up that are saying, man, we're probably not going to have him today. And, they trust him. And then here's the payback. I'll give you a little inside thing. Then when they hear stuff from other teams, they make phone calls and go, hey, by the way, pick a team. The Kings are looking to trade for blah, 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 or whatever. So they share information. That's how they get information. But he looked in good spirits yesterday. Saw him smiling and laughing. Looked pretty good. I will say this, I went down a rabbit hole. Did you know that Aaron Gordon can freaking sing?
I did not know.
Check up Spotify and look up Aaron Gordon. He's got a song on his own. This dude's got a voice. But anyway, they can win without him. I think a lot of reasons that Jalen Williams has struggled is because, you've had Aaron Gordon bang on him a little bit. But it also may be that you're going to have a game a little bit like Game 6 where somebody that you're unexpected come in and really give you valuable minutes. Now, whether let's go Zeke Naji, who, let's be honest, has the body that, even the people that comment on here, he's got the perfect NBA body. Can he give you and rise a game above, play above the nerves, and give you, if nothing more, a rebounding defensive game would be huge, right? He's probably not going to play tons of minutes, so can he give you whatever. And then Peyton Watson will probably have to play more than his 19 minutes. And the key for Peyton, we trust defensively. Peyton Watson's got to, when he gets his opportunities at the rim's got to finish. The one thing I'd like to see him improve on from, today to next season would be finishing at the rim in traffic. But we'll see. And then listen, and that's the key with younger players. Julian Strother teased us last game, helped us win game 6. Can't disappear tonight. I don't know if he's going to give you 15 and make, 3 threes or anything like that. But he can't disappear. He can't be an absolute zero, go 0 for 4 or whatever. And who knows, man, if karma works right, wouldn't this be a nice night for Michael Porter to have one of those Porter quarters and really blow up?
Well, the 3 ball is something that could help you oversee everything. If Strother could hit his, if MPJ can hit his, just keep the space open for Joker in the middle. Maybe, hey, we still haven't had that the iconic, the legendary type game from Jamal. He was good last game, but we haven't had that game 5 versus the Clippers, Jamal Murray, where he's feeling everything and he's just messing with his defender and using all the shakes and shooting over everybody and hitting the fadeaway and all that. So it wouldn't be so bad if we could find a way to get that going today too. All right.
Well,
so much talk about the rotation.
Berto said it after game 1, following your show, I believe, that, listen, Jamal Murray's going to win you one game. Well, here you go.
Well, he's due.
We're down. We're down to one game. And listen, I thought the key to Jamal Murray in that last game, he came in sick, and he always plays, or he has always played well when he's been under the weather. But I think it's because he's more under control. The ball's not sticking in his hands. I think Murray can kind of, even if you go look at the one game where he had 10 of 28 or 10 of 27 had 28 points. I think the ball sticks in his hand. He's trying to do too much one-on-one. He's a good one-on-one player, but he's not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai plays one-on-one, and the defender's on his hip all the time. He's that good. So it'll be interesting. Listen, Gordon doesn't play today. Has anything, and you and I have talked about it, Andy, has anything been easy for this team this year?
No. That's why I asked you. I said it to open the show. I said it to you the other day. Are we witnessing Nikola Jokic's greatest work and we just don't know it yet? I hope so. I hope so.
Well,
because frankly, Scotty, it's ridiculous that they're in a game 7 against Oklahoma City. There's a team that fired its coach, fired its GM, and let's be honest, I have to tell you, you've been around it, had a little bit of bad juju going on, and now all of a sudden here they are playing everybody. They're just street fighting everyone, possibly on their way to the Western Conference Finals.
One game away from it. There was a quote, and I don't remember the year, 17 or whatever it was, but when the Cleveland Cavaliers won their one NBA championship, and they were down in that series. They might have been down 3-1, but they were down in that series, came back and forced a game 7 in Golden State for the NBA title. And I don't remember if it was Jalen Rose on ESPN or, Chauncey might have even been jumping in and doing some TV work at ESPN at that time. But one of those guys said, and I thought, I think it's appropriate now, and hope to give you a little hope. You don't want to get in a one-game series when the other team has the best player in the world. And they were talking at that time with about LeBron James. Because in a one-game series, the best player in the world can take over. It's not like football. Tom Brady, for all the Super Bowls he won, lost to. And he was the best player, in the world at football. But that gives me hope because I do think, and listen, Shea Gilgis is going to win the MVP, but the best player in the world, and everybody will say that. I don't know how many people I've seen on all the talking head, whether it's podcasts or even live TV, they all kind of are affirming that Shea Gilgis win the MVP, but then they, in the same breath, affirm that Nikola Jokic is the greatest player in the world, which I'm like, does that jive? But whatever. Um, so that's my hope today. You got the best player in the world on your team playing on a game 7.
By the way, one of our guys asked if OKC is the haunted hotel. They do, but we're not. We've talked about this a couple of times because it's a fun topic around Halloween too. Scotty said they quit staying in that hotel a few years ago. So
yeah, our Dan Sheminsky, my good friend and head athletic trainer, was scared of that hotel, so he moved us out of there after stories started popping up.
we'll have to talk about the Greenbrier. I'm starting to hear some really interesting things about the Greenbrier. I don't think the players want to go back there.
Really?
So put that on the list as too. But we can save that for Halloween. That's an October conversation. Right now we're in May and hoping that the Nuggets give us some Memorial Day basketball. If you haven't seen the schedule, folks, it's going to pick right up. Nothing changes, Scotty. It's just unreal. That's going to be the hard part about getting Aaron Gordon right. They start, whoever wins this game has to go play Tuesday. Now, for some reason, the Knicks and the the Knicks and Pacers get to start on Wednesday. But, hey, we'll put the Western Conference on Tuesday, even though they're having a game 7.
I think that sucks, and I think that's stupid by the league. But here's why I found out. ESPN has the Western Conference Finals, and they have Tuesday night games. TNT has, I guess, Wednesday in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
So they get benefit from an extra piece of rest. So instead of just going ESPN, whatever, let's do it. I mean, it should be Tuesday. Okay, ESPN has the Pacers and Cavs. Good. Let's just play them. And Wednesday, okay, this game 7 goes. Here we go, Minnesota. They don't do that. They just go pure East, pure West by the TV network. So this series is dedicated or dictated by ESPN, the 4-letter network, because they have Tuesday nights.
By the way, someone asked about the hat. This is just Mammoth it's a hat for big heads. It's not the new Utah. Although I guess it does kind of look like a Utah Mammoth now, but whatever.
Tony,
hey,
we have not heard, and so because we've not heard, I'm pretty sure they will not. We had Tim McMahon on our radio show on PhD the other day. He's one of the NBA guys for ESPN. He'll probably be here tonight. He said, listen, the NBA learned a lesson, and they ain't giving out an MVP in a series that all of a sudden you give it to Shea, and all of a sudden you motivate the best player in the world.
Runner-up.
Not that that's going to matter to him at all or not. He's going to play, to his best of ability no matter what. But for those old NBA heads like me, they did that when Hakeem Olajuwon, so this being the late 90s, who was the best player in the world, by the way, and they give David Robinson the MVP, and all Hakeem Olajuwon, go look at that series. All Hakeem Olajuwon did was go out and average like 34 and 15 or something like that, and just absolutely destroyed the Admiral. I mean, destroyed the Admiral. And they gave David the trophy right before that series started. And it's been documented since. Hakeem said, really? Really? Okay. And they say that motivated the heck out of Hakeem Olajuwon. So the NBA, I think, learned its lesson. I think had
Joker won it, would they be doing it to motivate SGA? Look, man, I think
I don't know.
Nate, I think the NBA wants Ant versus SGA. I think they want their two high-flying guards with their whatever to be the matchup. So
the two new young faces of the league. I'll say this: I think had Clippers won it, they would have already announced the MVP. If the Clippers would have won that first series, I think they would have already handed it out. And they may want it, but I'll say this: here's the feeling I've gotten over the last year or two. And I only catch bits and pieces, for example, of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce's podcast that they do together. The old heads and the old Hall of Famers and these great players that are, found the podcast world like we have, they all have bought in on the Joker. And I think that's finally woke up the NBA. And I think the NBA realizes, ooh, we have one of those special cats. So I do think that two young guys um, fit the mode of new faces of the league, and it's probably going to be Ant and SGA going forward. I mean, let's be honest. We think Joker's old and he just turned 30. I mean, I don't know about you, but I take 30 right now. But that in the NBA's eyes is an older guy. So they want to reach the young market, although the people that sit in the arenas are usually yours or my age. but they kill it on streaming, and they kill it on outside the normal viewing of what we grew up used to, and those two guys are faces. So there might be something to that, but they don't want Joker to be motivated any more than he is, coming in this game and go, really? Okay. But you and I, here's the funny thing. The league's stupid because you and I know this don't matter to him. He
Yeah,
ain't gonna
he's
play
motivated to win.
hard. He ain't gonna play extra hard because SGA got a trophy. He don't care. He'd probably be the first guy before the jump ball that would go over to SGA and really congratulate him. That's who Joker is. You know what Joker's trophy is? It's what we saw in Game 6. We shot a tunnel shot because, like I said, we do on the altitude of pre. So we'll be on today at 12:30 back in Denver, and there's Joker literally 4 minutes before they run out there for warm-ups, and his daughter comes running down the hallway, his little 2-year-old, and he's hugging and kissing and loving on her, and that's Joker's trophy. I mean, when they won the championship, where did Joker stand after he won the league, the finals MVP? Stand on the back row, holding his daughter.
Yeah.
That's his trophy, boys and girls. That's his.
Well, and look, you talked about the old heads. I remember talking to Robert Ory about him the year that the Nuggets opened up against the Lakers after the championship. Ory loves him too. The guys of your era just appreciate it because, and this old guy rant time, so we'll keep it short. You used to be able to get all your dollars and your endorsements and get famous basically if you were a winner, if you were winning the games. We all love Michael Jordan because he was winning the games. That was what it was about. You needed to win. And now I just think some of these guys get their brands long. I mean, look, there's the T-Mobile commercial time after time. All three of the OKC stars are on it. Well, they haven't even been this far in the playoffs. They haven't even faced a game 7 yet, So there used to be, I think that's, like you talk about the motivation. Joker just wants to win this dang thing. Then he wants to go win the next dang thing. Then he wants to win the trophy. And he wants to go back and win some horse races. That's what he wants to do. So,
He wants to
all
stay
right.
on parade.
He wants to stay on parade. And we're hoping that he does. What do you think the rotation then look like? I mean, are you going to have to play some Zeke Naji minutes? You already brought him up. Are we going to have to do that? What do you do? How do you make up for no AG if that's officially what's going to happen?
I still will be surprised that AG doesn't try to go out and try, but maybe he doesn't. They may feel good about what they're going to do. And so they may just say, well, listen, we're going to rest you. We're going to win this game without you. We're going to rest you so that you're ready because we're really going to need you in Minnesota, and they will, which I don't think he played in 3 of the 4 games against Minnesota. So they may need him and they may rest him here and whatever. I'll say this. Here's a big key. And I don't know if anybody got to read the article that was in The Athletic the last week or so. And it was a deeper dive into who David Adelman is. And if you've watched this series, there's a piece in that article about him that week they had from the end of the season till the playoffs started, that he flew in his high school coach and his sister, who's a big time girls high school coach up in Oregon as well. His high school coach won multiple state championships, and they said they would spend in the evenings, hours after dinner, just talking about zone defenses. What's been kind of a key in this series, to me, is when defensively they've kind of gone to that zone and they have changed it up. And it's not just your because of the illegal defensive rules, the defensive 3-second rules they call it now. It's not your traditional 2-1-2 like you'll see in college. It'll be a 2-3 with Joker floating. It'll be a 3-2 with Joker up high. It'll be, and I even talked to one of the assistant coaches yesterday on the bus ride from the airport to the hotel, and he was saying, I said, let me ask you this, dude. I was watching the game. As one of the games here, you guys were like in a 1-3-1 type. He goes, yeah, we put that in. And I'm telling you, and I think we might have talked about it on the podcast. I know I talked on the radio show. I've never seen any NBA team institute a 1-3-1 kind of defense. I mean, that's pure high school, college type stuff that you just don't see that. So I hearken seeing a little more zone defense to that article in the Athletic of him sitting down with it. Two high school coaches, right, talking over how to play zone defenses. And I'm like thinking, for all you high school coaches out there, men and women, thank you, right? Because I mean, we tend to get so caught up in the pro world, or we might be caught up into the college basketball world. And here's a couple high school coaches, and David was a high school coach at one time in his life too, sitting there breaking down how to incorporate a zone defense under the NBA rules. And I think it's been a factor in this series. And I think you will see a lot of it tonight, especially early, because this is a way to give Joker a little defensive rest on the defensive end instead of hedging out on pick and rolls and coming back down, and now the drop defense. And now he's run. And it's kind of like remember the comment we had with the other guy the other day? You don't want it. You're 7'1", 285-pound center flying out to corners. You don't want that. And in a man defense, you're going to get that once in a while. So I think it was interesting from that article that maybe some inspiration of this zone defenses we've seen more and more of in Denver in this series came from a couple high school coaches. And I think that's just wonderful.
Well, hey, look, you go to wherever you need to find something that's going to work, and the zone has worked. All right. There's been a ton of comments in the chat. We got Joel in particular hyping it now, but a lot of people have brought up Scott Foster's ref in this game. So not our favorite name to hear. But what do you think that allows? Are they allowed to be physical, or what are we going to see?
I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of game sevens, and they usually float around that 96, 92 game, right? And they let him grind out and play it. Josh Tiven has been a lead official. He's your number 2 guy, and your number head refereeing during the season. So on paper, they got a good staff coming in there. I'm not in the past had a lot of problem with Scott Foster, but I'm not as excited seeing him. I guess here's your choice: you rather see him or Mark Davis. Although you've been winning games with Mark Davis reffing, so
Didn't
I'm
Davis
hoping
do game 6?
I'm hoping at the end of the game, and as we look forward either to the Minnesota series or a deep dive next week, you and I into what's in store, whatever scenario, that I hope none of the discussion has to do with anything officiating. That's
No, I'm
my
with
hope.
you. It's because I don't know if you happened to catch Stars Jets last night. Just a heartbreaking deal. Scott Shifley's dad dies that morning. He decides to play, and then he's the one, and he left the officials no damn choice. It was amazing. They were talking about it on the post-game show. Officials didn't call a single penalty till the very end, where Shifley tripped the wide open. There's going to be a breakaway with about 30 seconds left, and you maybe just have to trust Hellebuck, but they probably could have even called a penalty shot, but they didn't. They just gave him 2 minutes, and Shifley's the one that committed it after Shifley was the lone goal scorer for Winnipeg. And it went from the greatest story to, oh, I felt so bad for that guy because he just, every star took 5 minutes to hug him and say something. So Hopefully we get that kind of reffing today. Just stay the hell out of it. We don't need to know who you are. We know who you are. I almost wish they would put, you know what, Scotty, how about this? And I don't want to harp too long on it. I almost wish the officials wouldn't get on TV to announce this stuff because maybe, maybe it wouldn't be about being famous. And I say that because you and I both knew a couple guys that took some pride in being famous for officiating. So,
Oh, you do. Yes, you do.
one was
NFL.
baseball, but NFL, yeah, Hockley loved it. Good old Ed Hockley loved his FaceTime. But all right, man. We promised you a short one. We got a ton of viewers, so guys, you like doing it? Maybe we'll do it a little bit more before. I don't know. The weekday games will be tough, but let's hope there's another round to talk about. What's your what's your gut tell you? What are we going to see today?
Well, last thing I'll leave you with, and I said this. I sat by Scott Bay on the flight out. And I said, you know what? And I'm watching the people, and it wasn't stressful. It was kind of, everybody was cool and talking, walking around. DJ came walking back in the thing, and I'm like, I turned to him. I said, and I guess I'm one of the few guys that were around that can remember it. I said, this plane ride out to this game reminds me of 1994.
Oh, we're losing you. Lost your audio. Try that again. You were in the middle of a great point. There it is. There it is. Talk again.
Did I? Well, I'm talking. Can you hear me now? Anyway.
Yeah, we got
so
you. Okay, we lost your ride at the plane ride out in '94 is where we lost your audio. Pick up from there.
And that was where number 8 beat number 1. And it was the same kind of mood. It was a confident, relaxed, stress-free ride out there. Everybody was excited. And I know it was a game 5, but back then they only played best of 5. So that's the same scenario. It's a, win or go home type of scenario. And they were relaxed. And I turned to Scott Bay on that plane ride. I said, dude, this feels like 94 when they went out and ended up beating Seattle in Seattle. So let's see if we can get a little mojo what would it be, 31 years later. Let's see if we can have some of that same little mojo of Dikembe Mutombo. Let's see if we can get our Nikola Jokic laying on the ground, holding the ball up like that.
I was going to say.
Let's see if we can get that moment from Nikola Jokic tonight.
Get into Lion King, the basketball. That would be great. All right, man. Have a good call today. All right, folks, here's what we got coming up. So Berto's going to be on the YouTube channel with the All Act. It's going to be all of us on the pregame show. We got a watch party going at Stoney's. This is a 1:30 game. Get down to Stoney's, 11th and Lincoln. Great spot, huge bar, 1 million TVs, tons of places to just watch the game, good food. Get down there. That's the place to be. They want as much of the altitude staff coming out. I'm going to try to make it myself. And we're going to start watching the game there. Then after the game in the paint is Nate Kreckman. So listen to that with Nate Kreckman after. I don't know what's going on with Dan Tanner. So he's going to be filling in there. Then, or maybe he's sitting in with Dan. I'm not quite sure what. Then just know that if the Nuggets win, remember, they've got the home court. They're the 4th seed. Minnesota's the 6th seed. Minnesota's ready to fly. Minnesota's just figuring out where are they flying today or tomorrow. That's all they're doing. Obviously, they go to Oklahoma City being the 1 seed if they win this thing. But if the Nuggets get the big win, game 1 is Tuesday night, which means you need to listen to Altitude. We've been very lucky having some tickets to give away. Not sure we're going to have them with it being the Western Conference Finals, but if any station in town is going to have tickets, it's going to be us. So if this game goes the way we all wanted to and Denver's on to face Minnesota, you're listening to us all week, and no matter what, we'll have a breakdown of the season coming up, and Scotty and I will do our thing either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, depending on what the schedule breaks out as. Have a good call today, my friend.
And I'll be on the call because today on 92.5, so make sure you
there you go. All right, that's right. Little Scotty action, and if they go to Minnesota, he'll be there just the same. We'll be sitting in your seats. There it is. All right, we'll talk to everybody during the week. Again, look for Berto about 12. Talk to you soon.